know your name. Not playing your game. I've seen your face. You try to take my place. I got a beat to lay the fuck down. Come on a step inside of my town. Hold your breath and don't think there's a rule. Go ready to lay at your feet. You got to give some point to the new man trying to run on my joint. Grab some traction, running high. Bet you get you now, gonna get you on the dark side. You are the one keeping me from doing what I do. But now I see you too. So I give it back to you. Everything you hear.
5, 4, 3.
All right. You got it right this time.
Yeah, it seems like I did.
Oh, crap. I broke the fourth wall again, didn't I?
No, always. It's Deadpool time.
Oh, Deadpool time. All right, well, awesome. Hello, Internet, and welcome inside the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet. There you go. Oh, my gosh, somebody got it right for once. High five, baby. All right, you're tuned to the most radioactive show on the planet. I am the one and only DJ Vince VinnyMac, coming to you live from the VinnyMac Productions live studios here in Chester, Virginia. It is a awesome Thursday night. Thanks so much for tuning in. Episode 1306. I wouldn't be anywhere in the world.
And
right
this is
here.
MCP coming at you with the facts.
That's right. MC Parkaleta is here in studio. Rossi and Tenwag are, of course, down in Dallas, Texas right now in their respective hometown.
And Yoshi Blade is also in his hometown of somewhere in Ohio.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, he is outside of Cleveland, Ohio, for those of you guys who don't know.
Cleveland. I knew it started with C. I was going to say Columbus, but I don't know.
So yes, Rossi is no longer in North and South Carolina.
We will miss him.
He recently moved to the Dallas area. And anything you want to say in regards to that, since you're like one of his best friends?
Yeah, I'm actually really proud of him because he's He works hard at everything he does. I've never seen the kid actually say, you know what? Well, actually, guy. He's a man. He's not a kid. I see him as a kid because we're always doing different shenanigans, or always were, because I'm going to miss him.
You're feeling a little verklempt.
I'm feeling neglected.
Talk amongst yourselves. Here's the topic. Cooking and butter. Go.
Cooking and butter.
I
like cooking.
If you're familiar
butter.
with
There's
that,
all kinds of different kind of butters you can make.
If you're familiar with that, that's actually kind of a poor rendition or my impression of Coffee Talk from Saturday Night Live that Mike Myers used to do.
And now we're back with Delicious Dish.
Happy Fiber Day.
Happy Fiber Day. I freaking love that skit.
Yeah, the Delicious Dish sketches are just hilarious. I'm
pretty sure Betty White's probably my favorite guest that got on there.
Definitely, and I've always said that being on Saturday Night Live for me as a potential cast member would be absolutely difficult because I would be Jimmy Fallon times 100, where I would not be able to keep a straight face ever because he
wasn't a regular cast member on there, was he?
Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, as he actually had a contract with them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a cast member and, of course, did Weekend Update for many years.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
For many years. And, in fact, there were... Well, and if you caught the SNL 40th special, about 40th season special, you'll take note that they Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg did a music video where they were basically talking about breaking out of character, and Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands are like the pinnacle of that sketch because of the amount of times they broke character in their entire SNL career.
Actually, I think my favorite skit that Jimmy Fallon ever did was him and Jack Black covering More Than Words by Extreme. Their music video of that I was really impressed. They did a great job with that song.
What do you think of Idiot Boyfriend?
Oh, God, don't get me started.
That's the one I always have to ask everybody.
Don't even get me started. Seriously, I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay, fair enough. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to.
I would rather not have an opinion on. Seen it once, I can't get those few minutes of my life back.
Well, it's interesting that I even bring that up because every once in a while I have to listen to it just to listen to how ridiculous it was.
I don't even.
And that was even a thing.
I tried to forget it. But hey, that's what he wants to do. It's what he did, and I don't know if he's proud of it or not, but he did it. It's on the internet, never coming out, never going away. This shit's like a mustard stain. Sorry, pardon my French.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Are we allowed to cuss? Am I allowed to cuss?
You're allowed to say anything you want.
Am we going to bleep it out with words like mango? Or like,
no.
Ham?
No.
With the rap horn?
Speaking of, another one of my favorite Saturday Night Live sketches is, of course, Mango with Chris Kattan. You can't have the mango.
Can't have the mango.
Why does everybody think I'm gay? I don't know, Mango. I have no idea.
Actually, Chris Kattan recently came through Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm from. He came through a comedy club called Charlie Goodnights. I don't know. I mean, I love there. I love that place. I go there every Tuesday night for open mic comedy, and it's a blast. We actually, all the open mic comedians, got stuck on the third floor of that building because Chris Kattan came through and did his time on stage for about an hour on Tuesday night. So he kind of kicked us off our own stage, and we got stuck up on the very hot brick third floor. Brick surrounded third floor of that building. It was fun.
Did you at least get to watch him?
Didn't even get to see him. One of my good friends. Good. I guess I would. I don't know if I'd call him a coworker. We'll just do it for fun. He wants to be a stand-up comedian. I'll name him off. His name's Sam Prickett. He's a really, really funny guy. He's about 19 years old, and he opened up for Chris Kattan, which I was extremely impressed. They called him and said, "We want you to open up for this guy," which.
Now, because you didn't get to see Chris Kattan, you didn't get to see him open him up?
No, not at all. I was actually on a date that night, and we went to the open mic, hoping we'd get to see Chris Kattan, because I was thinking, holy crap, Chris Kattan's here on Charlie Goodnights in the same building I am. Maybe he's going to bless us with a whole 5 minutes of like an open mic. And they're like, no. They're like, he gets paid for this shit. Don't even try to think. Don't even hurt your brain. I was upset. I thought I'd meet.
Well, I can definitely understand why you would be upset. Because I was hoping that you'd get to catch it.
Yeah,
it's disappointing.
Disappointing. It's not every day you get to meet somebody that's as tall as your nipple height. She's short.
and for MCP, that nipple height is pretty high.
Like Kevin Hart, Chris and Kevin Hart, Chris Hart, same person. You mush them together, they're both crazy.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, twins separated at birth.
You know.
That's not an inaccurate statement.
Perhaps.
They're about the same person, same kind of comedic, I don't want to say talent, but comedic personality, just different ethnicity.
Sure.
I don't know. They're about the same age, aren't they? They're both in their 40s?
I think they are.
Maybe Kevin Hart's in his 30s?
Obviously, I'm not going to take the time to actually check, but...
Yeah. Googling is cheating.
It is very much cheating.
Cheating.
And we don't do that here on the VinnyMac's 9 radio show podcast. The
Especially
most
not
radioactive
live.
show on the planet. No,
that would be distasteful.
That'd be very distasteful.
It was ugly. Anyways.
You know, we were actually talking about that yesterday. When I was in school, we didn't have this cool thing called Google.
The interwebs?
We had the interwebs, but it definitely wasn't anywhere like it is today. And, we didn't really have, we obviously didn't really have Google, and we had the emergence of search engines, but they really sucked. And of course, you really had to be technically savvy, which of course I am, but most people even during those times were not. So if you were using them, you were probably very, very technically savvy. And even still, there was a lot to it, and it still, wasn't quite like it is today. You obviously didn't have the video content that we have, or the video platforms. You barely even had audio platforms in those days. And then, of course, you had the whole issue with copyright and all that fun stuff that we had to deal with.
No, it's just, but I think it's ridiculous how at this time in 2016, we can pretty much get the equivalent to a bachelor's degree in studying on Google. You can learn anything you want, literally everything you want or need to know on the internet, and we use it for memes, cat videos, and silly podcasts.
Oh, trust me. Trust me. As far as potential degrees on using Google, I'm very familiar with them because we have a lot of people out there know that I'm a very highly technical person, and I have a very, very high level. I have several high level positions with many major corporations in that regard, and it's just very interesting to see people come in and try to get positions that they have no business even thinking about. And when I talk to them, they have no real technical knowledge. And a lot of these high level positions you can't really teach. You have to have been doing them for many years just because of the nature of what the position is. And good example is recently, one of the companies I work for, they have a particular position that they would like to have another person for. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that this person needs to have at least 12 years of actual deep hands-on experience in this field, because again, you can't just teach somebody in a year or two and expect that they're going to pick up the knowledge, because unfortunately that's not the way it works. They have to have very intimate understanding and knowledge of how this stuff works. And of course, we all know that a lot of this knowledge takes time.
Absolutely.
The famous thing I've always said, and I remember a while back I posted
Hot
this.
titties?
Well, that is something I do say at times. But no, one of the famous things that I do say, and when I posted this on Facebook a while back, somebody was very quick to be like, "Oh my God, yes." It's the whole concept of I can't give you the keys to the castle because, again, all that takes time, and that time requires money, education, personal growth, and those are not the type of things that you can just hand over again in a year or two. And we're not talking about some of these low-level positions, level 1, 2, 3. We're talking like really high-level stuff that
Stuff school can't teach you.
to some degree, that's true. A lot of people actually come to me and they say, well, what type of degree should I be going for if I want to do this? And sadly, in many cases, I have to tell them, well, it's good that you might want to get a degree in this.
Yeah.
But really, it's going to come down to you actually playing with it yourself, because a lot of this stuff changes so quickly to the point where it's not going to be in a textbook. It's not going to be in a class or a curriculum or anything like that.
It evolves.
It evolves way too quickly for it to ever make it in a textbook.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of the knowledge that I gained in terms of actual education in high school and college
Working
and,
with it on a
and
daily
after
basis.
that, most of that, as far as what I'm using day to day, came from actual hands-on experience with me actually buying equipment myself by having multiple jobs and earning money to purchase said equipment and software and what have you.
Pulling it apart, putting it back together.
Exactly. And that's the sad reality of what you got to do. And, unfortunately, you can't just read a book and expect to be able to, do a hands-on activity.
Yeah.
And then be very proficient at it, because, as we know, it doesn't really quite work that way. And that's been practically my whole life in terms of the whole technical aspect. Having a degree is absolutely important, an important thing. Don't think that because I just said that you need to have all this experience and need to be able to play with it yourself, that's definitely an important factor, because experience is an important thing. But having that degree, even if it's in something that's not necessarily in that field, is a very important thing, because most recruiters, who are of course going to be the gateway into any company, they don't see that. I mean, your application is going to be headed straight for the trash. I hate to say it, but that's just the way it goes.
That sounds really complicated to try to get into.
It is, and other people, they ask me, well, what about certifications? Obviously, that's going to be very different from company to company, but when it comes to me, if you're an individual that has no experience, no education, and all you have is 1 to 3 certifications, we'll say, I'm going to be very reluctant to even consider you unless on the phone and or in an in-person interview, you sound like you know what you're talking about. I'm going to be very reluctant to even consider you, just because, sadly, like a lot of things in education, that just goes to show that, hey, you can take a test and you can figure out how to address certain questions on a test. I mean, Microsoft exams, the key thing with a Microsoft exam of any kind is, if you don't know the answer, try to figure out which answer is going to make Microsoft the most money in licensing.
Huh.
And usually that's the correct answer in most cases. And again,
well, hot damn. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Now, I mean, certainly there are some certifications that are definitely highly more regarded than others. But, and then of course I take those into account, but sadly, when I look at applications for some high level positions, most of them are just your typical certifications that anybody in the field might get, and anybody could get just by really taking the class and taking a very easy test afterwards. So it's obviously done on a case by case basis, especially talking with the individual during a pre-interview process is definitely key. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but it's the old adage of, I've seen some things, man. I've seen some things.
Seen some things, dude.
Oh, man.
Don't even, some nightmares.
It's a good thing I love my job because I have
just can't
seen
even.
some things.
We just can't even.
That's a phrase that I really, I'm getting really...
I love it.
I
Don't even dog it. Don't even shoot it down.
I don't want to say irritated, but just getting tired of hearing because sadly, especially with dealing with people in the professional world, that just seems to be their excuse, their end-all excuse. And I'm just like, you're getting paid lots of money to do this, so I don't want to hear that.
I say it as a joke. I say it because I know it's old.
Sure.
I say it because
I get where you're coming from, but it's just something.
Like, I mean, it's different when somebody says it seriously. Like, they're trying to figure something out, and they're serious about it. They say, I just can't even. It's like, all right, our next meeting we're having at Starbucks, because that's the... it seems that you are coming off as basic. Super basic.
Well, I mean, you know, in a casual sense, okay, that's fine.
Totally.
I don't really care.
I feel like my life is a casual sense.
But, but you know, again, when I'm in the professional day-to-day world and I hear that, I'm just like, you're making me want to say I can't even, because I can't even bear to hear what you're saying.
But so we were talking about Rossi and Tenwug and Yoshi Blade, and it's unfortunate they can't be here with us right now. But it's not, I'm not talking about them; they're dead or nothing. It's just they're off doing their own things. They're not dead; they're alive.
They better
they're
not
kicking
be dead.
it. They're kicking it in the middle. What do you call that? Like the middle smack dab in the middle of the United States.
Midwest.
The Midwest.
Yeah.
Midwest.
Midwest.
It's like Western world, like we're west, and then like the east of the west.
Well, with
is us, and then,
Rossi and Taiwan, you can just call it Texas. We all know what
Texas.
We all know what that is.
Because all our exes live in Texas.
You don't
they're over banging our exes.
You don't mess with Texas.
I don't know. Rossi said that he had recently made out with a porn star, and I told him pictures or it didn't happen. Well, I was reluctant to believe that, because I mean I have never met a porn star, but I would like to meet him. High five, hug even, and buy him a beer and say, you know what, I'm proud of you. Doing what you got to do. Like that. There's a Duke University student. This is an old story, but she is paying her tuition with the money she makes from porn. That's downright impressive. Slightly sad, but impressive. I think it's freaking cool. But I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm a male. We make way less money than the females do, and that's not gender equality. I'm kidding. I don't even want to go there.
That's not exactly the best topic for the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast.
No, not at all.
No.
But and I excuse all the little mic sounds. I'm shuffling. I can't sit still. I don't know what it is. It might be ADD or all the donuts we ate earlier.
Garth, you need your pills.
Garth,
you need your pills.
Swing. But
until next time, party on Garth.
Party on Wayne.
It's Wayne's World. Anyway.
Wayne's World. Party time. Excellent.
I can't even do it.
Why not?
The end part. Yeah, I can't do it.
Why not? Try it.
I just can't.
Try it.
No.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
You can
No.
even.
No.
Yes,
no.
you can. I believe in you. Try it.
I know you believe me.
Try it. Try to make the sound.
I can't.
Well, you have to do it with the hands and
like,
the air guitar.
I can't do it like they can.
All you have to do is with your tongue, like flicking on the back of your teeth, and then just go. Woo, woo, woo. Try it.
No.
Please. They are begging you. We're breaking the fourth wall the entire time. Try it. Try it. I'm not going to stop.
But that's a normal thing on this show. Come on.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Everyone wants to hear it.
I got to do it.
Do it.
Got to do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Come on, everybody. Do it. Do it. Do it. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
The vibrations are a little ridiculous.
I don't know if they can hear it over the mic or not.
Oh, yes, they can.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Please. Please. I want to hear it. I'm not going to stop until you hear it. Come on. Come on. Please. Please. Oh, don't make the key sounds.
Here's some keys. Here's some keys.
Right.
Oh, he's going for the keys.
Next topic.
He's going for the keys. He went for him, ladies and gentlemen. It's a shame I didn't have the camera ready because he went for him.
Oh, gosh. But,
So we... the last quarter...
Gotta make the sound, dude.
No. Last quarter... the last quarter, because this is the last day of March. has been pretty insane. As we all know, during episode 1304 and 1305, which is, of course, our pre-PAX South and our actual PAX South episode, that the first quarter was pretty crazy because we had all sorts of events. The end of 2015 for me was pretty crazy because I ended that kind of ending 2015 while also starting 2016 with Yoshi Blade and working with him. And a lot of people don't know this, but since 1994, so I was that young when I started all this, I've literally been working with musicians of all ages, types, sizes, ethnicities.
Not to mention Ninja Sex Party. Got to give you thumbs up because you freaking killed it at MagFest.
Well, I have nothing to do with that, but
I'm just saying, you guys killed it. I don't know if you're ever listening to this show, but you freaking killed it. I loved it. You guys blew me.
I'm sure
blew
they
me the fuck
probably
away.
don't.
I fucking. Oh, it's great.
But since '94, and yes, I was very young at that age. I've been working with musicians of all ages, of all ages, types, sizes, ethnicities, all over the world. Both in person and online, working on creating and or perfecting and or modifying, which you might say would go hand in hand with perfecting, their craft of music and content creation.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because I started that way before such organizations like Game Chops, No See Remix, and other organizations that are very similar to that. And I was doing that on a one-on-one level. And I just find that very fascinating that even to this day, I'm still doing that. And of course, doing it on a more hardcore level.
It's passion.
Because it really is, but I'm doing it on a more hardcore level because I'm getting to the point where I'm independent enough. And of course, I work day in and day out, practically around the clock.
Gosh,
you know
don't
that.
Sleep, dude.
I really don't. Some would say it's unhealthy, but I think I get a fair amount of sleep every night. Not really.
Speaking
Anyway,
of unhealthy, Norwegian Metal and Norwegian Hipster and their silly ass dairy challenge. I need to do it sometime.
well, not that I'm going to sit here and gloat or toot my own horn, but I used to do that fairly regularly because I definitely love my dairy, and I do. I mean, I like my milk products.
So much sugar. So much sugar.
Well,
they do it with chocolate milk, man.
well, chocolate milk, sure,
It's great.
And then
like,
after that, they had their orange soda, and
every
I
time
think that's what they had.
you
I
drink
don't know.
the same stuff, dude.
I mean,
Come over to my house and
no,
you're
I
drinking-
don't remember if it was the orange soda or if it was something else.
He
'Cause-
told you about the combination of
Well,
what drinks.
He did. I just don't remember because that was so long ago. But no, I've been doing this since 1994. And it's kind of funny because back in 2014, that's kind of when I made a decision to kind of be a little bit more public about what I do and also be more public as far as at least trying to help those that I can. Because remember, I'm one person. And of course, I have a small amount of resources. People come to me and they think that I've got an endless amount of resources to help them with their project. And I have to, be pretty blunt with them and say, this is cool and all, but I can't really help you because I just don't have the resources to help you in the way that you think that I can. And, but it's cool.
Can't make you a superstar. Got to do it yourself.
Well,
Or do it with somebody else that can help you. He can
yeah,
help
well,
you
and
get
that's the
there.
thing. I can help you in any way that I can, but I'm not going to do the work for you. And that's where a lot of people get really confused, or they think that that's what I do. And no,
So what
that's
you're
not what
saying
I do.
is there's a chance.
Sure.
No,
if you're going to bring that into it, yes.
If anybody's really confused about it, what I'm getting from this is that he can give you the building blocks to be successful.
That's exactly it, and not just with actual technicals, equipment, software, all that stuff, but also personally too, because I don't even know if you can even imagine the type of personal challenge that I've had to overcome and these other individuals have had to overcome on their own, with me working with them. Because again, I'm going to help you, but I'm not going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So that they can make their dream or make their concept a bit more of a reality through the help that I can provide, however I can provide it. And it's really cool, especially when people actually work to make their passion a reality. And it's also really interesting to see those fail even when you tell them straight up.
Yeah.
You know, you're heading downhill, and you're heading downhill fast. And it's really interesting when they don't believe you, when you provide them crystal clear evidence and previous experience with yourself and others, and they just completely ignore it. I guess because they believe that either they don't believe it or they think that they're somehow going to be different. And then it's very interesting when I have to, watch it all burn to the ground. And sometimes that involves me getting burned myself, that has happened many times because that's all part of the process.
So the moral of the story is stay humble.
Stay very humble.
Stay humble, stay open, keep your eyes open, keep your head down. Don't pick your chin up too high. You might hit a ceiling fan like me. I'm 6'4", and I've hit his stupid ass chandelier twice in the same chair. Just stand up straight up and hit my head on this stupid chair. Well, I have a vendetta against that thing.
Well, what you probably don't know is I hit it all the time too when I don't remember that it's there. So you're not the only one, my friend.
Like as a draft tech in Raleigh, I'm always crawling in and out of keg coolers in restaurants. And there's one. I'm not gonna tell you what restaurant it is because I mean it's cool Irish pub, but their cooler door is just small enough that I hit my freaking forehead on it. Every time I walk into the cooler, if I'm not paying attention, I'll climb on top of kegs, step off of them, and as my foot touches the ground, my forehead smacks on the...
it hurts. It's smart.
Small people problem.
It's smart. Yes.
And the sad thing is I still can't dunk.
Well, you know what they say.
I don't know what they say. What do they say?
Oh, come on. You know what they say. White man can jump,
Why are you telling everybody I'm white? They could have known. They could have thought I was
because
like
they know they've seen the pictures.
I'm like 5 different kinds of English.
Okay.
Not me. I was born in St. Louis.
That somehow changes this fact.
That's not racial. It's just genealogy. That stuff. I don't even know how to I don't know. Anyways, proceed with said tales of.
So it's just so amazing. I'm still doing it, and then 2014. At least for me, was just personally a momentous year because, of course, at that point, I had been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when I thought about it, I was like, wow, I've been doing this for 20 years.
It's a long time.
It's a very long time.
You've been doing this since I was 2.
Yeah. And I guess the most interesting thing is even when I was, because that I started this when I was very young.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting to look back on that and say, even though I was still young, very young, and I mean so young, I was young. Anyhow, that I was so young that I was still able to scrape the resources just a little bit. I was able to scrape the resources together, even when I wasn't actually working because I wasn't old enough to work just yet.
Yeah.
To do what I did, get on the internet, work with people who had similar ideas, concepts, desires, passions in terms of music creation and content creation, and work with them. Even myself being relatively new in terms of learning instruments and learning how to play electronic music when a lot of the softwares that we have today didn't exist. You pretty much had to build it yourself. You had to create the software, and if there was any hardware involved, you had to build that hardware yourself because there just wasn't anything available on the market to actually, buy it and put it all together. And, looking back at a lot of my old archives, I look at stuff that I developed and I'm like, wow, this is really stupid.
Don't rip on yourself that hard.
No. I mean, stupid in the sense that, because we all know that back in the early days, computers didn't really do much. They were very expensive, but they were not capable of doing that much. And I look at some of these programs and I'm like, wow, this is really stupid because it's designed to do something really mundane. It was really cool at the time, but it was very basic. Got the job done that I was trying to do, but I just look back at it and I'm like, wow, how easy would that be to do today? And your typical 20-year-old trying to do the same thing, they'd probably laugh at you and go, ha, I could do this by just pressing this key because it's built into my operating system or something like that.
I'm just I get a yawn coming on. Dang.
Well, it is kind of late.
Yeah, a little bit. Good thing the room's pretty lit though. Ha!
Yeah.
It's not very sus.
Oh, what now? Yeah,
Oh,
it is very light because we have the studio lights on, which makes it incredibly bright in here.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So speaking of,
I should have brought my glasses. But...
Speaking of bright and
Speaking
hot,
of?
spreaking.
Ha!
That should be my new catchphrase.
Spreaking.
Speaking of that.
It's brand new.
Oh, what now? The delicious dish. For those of you guys who don't know what he's talking about.
And I took the D out of brand.
Wow.
It's good times.
Good times. Good times.
Good times.
So, as all of you guys out there know, we simulcast on multiple platforms such as Hitbox, YouTube Gaming, Twitch TV, Shoutcast, and of course, the VIP stream at VinnyMacRadio.com.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, Hitbox is the official partner of VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, so if you want to chat with us, you can do that. Although this is a podcast, so we don't really expect too much user interaction during the podcast. But if you feel so inclined, you can certainly do that. And hopefully we'll be watching. We'll see. I mean, we got it up, but we get really really talkative and forget that that's even there.
Oh, absolutely.
So as always around this time, we're gonna take a quick break, and after that, we'll get into more stuff.
Cool beans.
Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the VinnyMac's 9 radio show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet. You're listening to episode 1306, and we're, as always, coming to you live from the VinnyMac Productions live studio headquarters, and we're here in Chester, Virginia. Yeah, that's right. So we were talking before the break about,
Am I not allowed to burp?
You're allowed to burp. That was just pretty
Explosive. I know.
pretty explosive, especially since I'm right next to you. But we were...
It probably smells like Pizza Hut pizza. Not that I'm selling my soul to the devil or nothing like that.
Too late. So we were talking about...
That cardboard was delicious.
Yes. We were talking about my involvement in helping others with music creation and content creation, working on their process for the most part. And it wasn't until recently where I've kind of been working on my own process a little bit because I'm taking a different turn with how I'm doing things. A lot of people know that over the last 15, 20 years or so, most of my focus has primarily been with rock music and pop music. I've been doing video game related music for, I don't know.
Forever?
Maybe 17, 18 years. Because when I started all that was maybe 2 years before Overclock Remix was started.
Yeah.
And which that started in late 1999. But of course, I can't really claim any real fame to OC Remix in terms of the site in itself, just because, I mean, I was there alongside it, but I was not there in terms of actually working on it specifically. Because I know that some people are very confused because I have direct ties to OC Remix Radio because I created that back in 2004. The concept for that actually started in 2001, but the actual technical aspect of it, as far as when it got off the ground, wasn't until 2004, and that's been running almost nonstop since then. We did have to take a brief interim late last year.
Briefs.
Yeah.
Like underpants.
Yeah, thanks, MC Percolator. And we did have to...
it's too serious. Gotta make jokes.
Yeah, we did have to shut down for a little bit to move some things around and just make it a little bit better than it is today, because we lost some really important people, unfortunately.
Well, you gained some new ones.
Well, I mean, lost the engineers that made all that technically possible.
Because
life is life, and sometimes things happen unexpectedly, and
great things don't last forever.
Sadly, death is inevitable.
You just made that real.
I had to.
Don't make it real, man.
Because that's what happened. Because I don't want people...
That's about entertainment. It's not supposed to be real.
I don't want people getting confused thinking that like they left or that there was like some major negative things that happened here.
You're making it real, man.
Sadly, I got to make it real.
Don't make it real. You don't have to.
Yes, I do.
You don't have to.
And actually, that's kind of one of the key things when I work with people is some people I work with refuse to...
Make it real?
To not necessarily make it real, but see how things are really actually happening in their own lives,
Oh, totally.
And I have to be the one, sadly, to tell them, hey,
to burst their bubble.
Well, that is one way of putting it.
Catchy phrases. They're great.
Well, that's because you're interrupting me as I'm talking, so I can't really complete my sentences.
I have an arsenal of them. Don't even joke.
I don't need to. You were on one of the previous episodes of the podcast, and yeah.
Anyways.
Yes. So, anyways, sadly, I have to make it real for people because sometimes some people refuse to see the reality, the way that it's actually unfolding, because they have their own perception of how things are going. And yes, sadly, I do have to be the one that bursts their bubble, as MC Percolator put it. And in fact, somebody I've been working with recently, I think is starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel as far as some of the things that have to change if this person wants to be successful.
Totally.
Not just in music, but also professional career. And, again, that's one thing I can help you with, but I can't do it for you.
And just saying, your world, I lived it for most of my life until I decided to move out to the city, which I always said I hated the city because New York City was my first real experience with people in the city, and I hated it. I never wanted to move out to the city, but I did. I chose to move out to a smaller city that feels like a big town. So it has a small town feel in a small city. It's pretty fun, but I realized that my life wasn't as big as a quarter, and that everything bagels are a thing. Those are a thing. Or Asiago, that's a thing. I think that's what they're called. The cheesy bagels. Those are fun. But but you have to open up your eyes. You have to listen to the third party perspective, not just from not word for word, but take it as a grain of salt. Sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's great advice, and sometimes it's not worth your time at all. Sometimes somebody's just trying to shoot you down, but that's up to you to figure out.
Sure.
What you want to listen to, and depending on what you listen to, that could either make or break you. And nobody really wants to see you break.
Well, at least I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find out real quick who the good people are.
Sure. And, you know, especially when I work with people for extended periods of time, I definitely like watching the change in perspective, especially when I come into the picture very early on. Because a lot of people, they'll come in and think that, like, you know, I had it easy, like, from day one. But as you know, from day one, even to this day, I am constantly working for everything that I have and everything that I do. So, you know, I think it's just easy for people to just look at somebody and just assume a lot. And we all know that can be very dangerous. We do. And, you know, again, bursting that bubble, I have to explain to people, no, I'm successful because I make mistakes, I learn from them, and I carry on. And sure, it's painful sometimes to look at some of the mistakes that I've made and remember how bad they were, but at the same time, you got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on. And I think that's something that I came to terms with many years ago, and that's why I am relatively successful for the most part. I mean, I'm still making mistakes all the time, but it's because of those mistakes that I'm able to say, well, you know, in this situation, I shouldn't do that. Or
right.
In this situation, I should do that because this is the right time for it. Sometimes it's not the right place for it. I'm always just looking for the best way to do it.
Why do I feel like every episode we do ends up turning into a life lesson?
Because that's exactly what this podcast is about.
Life lessons, peoples, coming from young people who are still learning.
Yes. And I mean, even when you grow older, you're always still learning a life lesson. Mm-hmm. People seem to think that as you get older, that becomes less and less of a thing. And sure, that may be the case if you decide that you don't want to actually get out and do anything, mm-hmm. which sure, I can understand why that would be, because at that point you've just given up. And
if there's anything that if you ever want to listen to me, I don't know if you should or want to or do or I don't know. All I have to say is that while you're young, take the chance to take risks. That's your time. It's not your time to take risks when you're older and you have family and you have kids to look after, but if it's just you and you don't have a ton of responsibilities, take the chances to learn, take risks, do things out of your comfort zone.
There's MC Percolator coming at you with the facts.
The facts.
And I do want to
that juicy juicy shit.
I do want to reiterate though that you know, even if you're in your mid-20s, late 30s, well, early 30s into late 30s, that even if you're still single and you don't have any kids, and you know, getting into content creation, music creation, or just want to learn how to, you know, work a digital audio workstation or whatever, you know, that's still a good time to take a risk, mm-hmm. Especially if you have the time. And I mean, to be honest with you, even with me, I get into all kinds of things that, like, even from the very beginning, I'm like, you know, I have no idea how I'm going to accomplish it or even how I'm going to pay for it in many respects. But in the end, I always figure it out. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, you should go and start blowing thousands of dollars on software and and hardware and all that stuff.
That's bad juju.
I'm just saying that over my years, I've figured out my own internal process of the things that I need to do, even if I don't have the money or the knowledge of how to do something. But I figured out my own process and how I need to actually deal with that. if there's something that I really, really, really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's something that I really want to do, if I really want to do, but it just seems out of the question, I got to make that own decision on my own. But most of the time, I'm able to say, well, that's reasonable. And the cost, although I don't have it now based on my,
Right.
my own projections and all that stuff. Because trust me, there's a lot of analysis that goes on up in this head to determine whether I can or can't do something. And actually, to be honest with you, that's what a lot of what I do is. It's a lot of internal processing in my brain. It's not really. A lot of people would assume that I'm using a spreadsheet or using some software to determine all this. But to be honest with you, not really.
He uses his own organic computer called his brain. And
Yes.
a lot of people our age don't use anymore.
And that's really a sad reality that I've certainly noticed over the years.
Oh, yes.
People refuse to use their brain.
And relying on the internet to imagine cat videos.
I'm sure you can imagine how
And
many
memes.
people actually use a calculator for basic addition.
Dude, it's tough. It's a tough life. Math.
It's a very
is
tough life.
God. Math. I hate math. Math and I aren't friends. I'm one of those people that uses a freaking calculator. I don't even
To be
remember
honest
how to
with
do
you,
long division.
I mean, to be honest with you,
That hurts my brain.
even basic addition, I hate doing it. But I mean, there are many situations that I'm put into that I just have to do it, or someone's gonna take me to the cleaners because of it.
Yeah, like I really want to print out a bunch of, excuse me, cough, dang it. I really want to go back to the days, or I want to find those little multiplication table tests from like 1 through 12 and take that test under 2 minutes and see if I can still do it from back in like the second grade to like 2002.
we can arrange that.
I think I want to. We should take a small video of that later. But that would be fun. But gosh, I feel dumber now than I did when I was in middle school or high school. I don't know nearly as much as I used to. Why are you looking at my feet, man? I'm just adjusting my socks.
Because I'm hearing the chair squeak. That's what I'm saying.
It's this sound.
Yes,
like a little lever
yeah,
that makes
I know.
it go.
I know exactly what it is, and I'm saying
Oops,
you're
there it
hitting
goes.
it, and the people are hearing that. That's exactly the type of thing Matt would do with this
He'd
thing
kick it.
here. He'd kick it, and
Or
I'd be looking
have a
at,
pen do
and
it.
I'd be looking at him like, everyone can like hear that as if it's right next to him.
Yeah. Oh, Matt. He never surprises me.
So, but I mean, and
Love the guy.
sure, and a lot of people.
Sure.
Well, I'm trying to get back to topic. We got to stay on topic, especially if we don't want to ramble too much off topic. So,
Oh, we totally ramble.
I mean, we do, but I'm trying to keep it slightly together as best as I can with what I got to work with. So, that is not an insult. That is just a statement. That is a statement of fact. So,
Sure.
and a lot of people, especially in their mid-20s, early 30s, they're always telling me, I really, really wish that I had started this sooner. And I look at them and I say, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I wish I could have started sooner too, but we all know that, we don't have that option to go back. You just kind of have to work with what you got.
Yeah.
And, as I said just a few minutes ago, it's not a bad thing if you're realizing this later in your life, because, hey, now's your time to try to figure it out, especially if you've got the time. One of the things that, me and Yoshiblade talked about when I was at his place around the holidays.
Yeah.
And shortly thereafter when he was here after all that was...
I can't remember exactly.
Well, I'm just trying to phrase it appropriately.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've always said was that just the fact that when I was coming up in all this stuff, the software just didn't exist. The digital audio workstations, and if it did, it was very expensive and it just crashed all the time. And I remember there was one piece of software I used to use all the time, and it just got to the point where it crashed so frequently that you just couldn't really use it for any kind of actual production because it would just crash at any moment, and you just can't have that during a live performance.
Right.
It just cannot happen. That, and of course, like for example, the CD DJ console I gave Grimecraft. you know, people were all like, well, where's the effects? Where's all the cool stuff? And I'm like, okay, well, you apparently don't understand that back in 97 when this thing was manufactured, you didn't have any of that.
Mhm.
You basically just had 2 CD players in this very expensive console with some really basic mixing functions, and that was it. And that stuff was very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I still have my CD DJ system upstairs. Grimecraft happened to get one that a friend of mine felt that it was taking up too much space and, you know, that he just wanted it gone. So I made a deal with him and had it sent out to San Francisco to Grimecraft. And from what I understand, Grimecraft's been having some fun mixing Creed and all that stuff.
He was a cool guy. I got to meet him at MagFest. He was
Yeah.
a really cool dude.
Definitely a cool guy.
Didn't get to talk to him very long, but he was really busy doing his DJ thing.
Doing his thing. Doing
Mhm.
his thing. And, you know, that's you know, another thing.
Didn't get to meet Cutman very much. Didn't get to talk to him. I
Oh.
shook his hand. He was
Well,
cool.
he's been very busy. But you
Yeah.
know, speaking of Cutman, Grimecraft, the whole Game Chops crew, you know, I've been trying to, not to be confused with the Game Chumps crew, which is us. Yeah, I just got to clarify that. You know, a lot of people recall the 100th episode where I gave Cutman $1,000 and then an additional $500 to assist with the hardware that was needed to take the whole show of This Week in Chiptune to the next level. And that was really interesting because after that, a lot of people came to me kind of expecting that, you know, I'd give them tons of cash for their projects. And again, a lot of people don't realize that I'm not about just giving you cash for your project. It's got to have some form of actual significance. And of course, you got to really grow from that experience. And the thing about, you know, DJ Cutman and Grimecraft and, you know, several others in the Game Chops crew is that because I've been in the industry for so long and I've been doing this for longer than I think any of them have done any of this. Because I mean, like I said, I've been doing this since '94.
Yeah.
That I've watched a lot of this unfold, even when I was in New York City and many other places doing all this stuff. Because as you know, I've been around all over the place, and I've watched a lot of this stuff happen that I realize that they don't even realize that I did. But you know, I talked to a lot of people in the industry. I've seen a lot of this stuff, and you know, as such, I had no real issue when I was doing all that and trying to make This Week in Chiptune, and of course, you know, giving Cutman a replacement mixer, brand new, full warranty, all that stuff. No problem whatsoever, because I knew that he was working really hard, trying to improve not just his content, but also himself and many others.
Right.
And it's just very exciting to you know, to see all that just take off, and also this big community that's being built behind it as a result of all that. It's just very cool, very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Overclock Remix. You know, there are a lot of people who have known who I am from day one, and there are a lot of people who don't. Even a lot of core people who
I've known you from day 2.
No, even a lot of core people who have been there from day one and have no idea who I am. That's actually a good thing, because at least for me, because as an underground DJ, producer, host, what have you, that means that I have done my job.
Cool. Explain. I really don't.
The basic gist, or at least the basic gist of the way that I presented everything that I do, I don't typically...
You're not looking for the fame.
I'm not looking for the fame, but I don't typically advertise any of this. And in fact, you know, people always come to me and they'll say, well, if so many people are tuning in or doing this or doing that, then why are the numbers so low? And I have to give them a touch of reality, is that most people who are tuning in to like this very podcast, for example, are tuning in live. And most of them are tuning in via my own platform, because that's what this show was designed and implemented for.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this rides on Hitbox, Twitch TV, YouTube, Shoutcast, that's all just the thing that I have developed for people who may not have access or know about. Because again, that was all developed on the whole concept of being underground and the fact that you have to know how to get there
Yep.
or figure it out. That was all put there for those who, may not know how to get there or may not readily have the technical capacity to, just because they don't know how, to actually get to my platform and the typical ways that we actually present the podcast and the show, just to make it slightly easier. And the reason why you'll not find this particular podcast on like iTunes or any of the other major podcast platforms is because I don't want it on those platforms. I've had tons of people say, you should put this on iTunes. And I go, I don't have any intention of doing that anytime soon.
We ain't about that life.
And yes, going back to your original statement is that I'm not about the fame. I never have been. But that's the whole concept of being an underground DJ, producer, host, is the fact you do it because you love it, not because you're trying to seek money, fame, glory, or anything like that. Because if I were, I would be so much bigger than the way I am. And that's not tooting my own horn. That's just the nature.
We're not after the booty.
That's
and
not
booty. I mean pirate booty.
Well,
like
where I'm getting at is that, over my time in the industry, I've had so many incredible offers and opportunities to, making millions and millions of dollars off of this stuff. But I mean, my whole attitude is, and this is where some people get really persnickety because they're like, "Oh, you're just so altruistic," in that sarcastic sense.
That I don't understand.
That sarcastic sense. And I look at them and I go, I get the sarcasm, but I don't know where you're getting your tone, because
we're just saying our anacondas don't.
Yeah. and I guess it's really hard to believe that there are people out there that still are altruistic, and really they're only there to, and this blows people's mind when I say it, is that they're there to, for the greater good, to progress mankind, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Life lessons in the underground.
Yes,
that's us.
And there's a frequent thing that people see in photos, and they may not realize what it is, but there's this thing that me and a few people do in some photos. And of course, I know the listeners can't actually see what I'm doing, but it's basically this. So I don't know if you've actually seen this.
A fist over your left chesticle.
Yes. Chesticle. Yes.
Right over your heart.
So, like, for example, when me and Yoshi Blade were at 16-Bit Arcade outside of Cleveland, and I guess it was very end of December, there's a photo of us somewhere of us doing this. And the thing that goes along with that is 3 words. For the cause.
Nothing to do with Just Cause, the video game.
No.
Good. I haven't played that game yet. Don't ruin it for me.
And at least for me anyway, the cause is, again, progressing mankind. And for me, that's always been working with people who I think have the talent and have the potential to do great. They just may not necessarily have the know-how, the financial capabilities even. And of course, if I see that to be the case, and usually I figure that out relatively quickly, then of course I'm there to help any way that I can. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, like I've said, you can't just be wanting that. There has to be a real desire for you to actually want to do it and pursue it, mm-hmm. especially on the long term. And also, you have to be willing to work for it, and also be willing to put forth the time and effort in doing so. And of course, that's where a lot of people fail. Because again, I'm not going to do it for you.
Yeah. No one should do it for you.
And
do it yourself. That's how you learn.
And I've worked with thousands of musicians. some big, some you probably never heard of. And that's fine. I'm not worried one way or another. If they're big name artists or not so much. I really believe, based on my experience with many of these people, that their success was because of the amount of time and effort that they put into it, and taking what I've given them, whether it be finances, equipment, software, technical advice, or really just personal advice, or even all those things combined, because all those go hand in hand with the process. Because as a musician or content creator, I mean, I think you can understand that there's 9 times out of 10 a major mental and or emotional strain on that process.
Don't even get me started.
Okay, then I won't.
I mean,
Then
I would.
won't.
It's just it's not for everyone. But if you do want to pursue it, give it everything you got. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly.
I don't really have anything else to add to that besides don't cheat yourself. The only person you're cheating by not trying your hardest is yourself.
Sure. And, one of the things we talked about in the previous 2 podcasts is, work with the community. Ask questions. I mean,
you're not by yourself.
You're really not by yourself. I mean, as I've said before, the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to tell you, no, I don't really have the time, or I don't really want to help in this area because of whatever reason. I mean, we're all pretty understanding people, and I mean, the worst you're going to do is cheat yourself out of your own need and help that you may need from other people. Because, I mean, sure, a lot of this stuff can be figured out via the internet. That's how many people have figured it out before. But at the same time, I think real progress in this field occurs when you're able to work with somebody else, ask questions, especially somebody who's been doing this a little bit longer than you have, so you can, figure out how somebody else is doing it, figure out how you're doing it, if you're doing it at all, and how you might be able to do it, or copy their own process and make sick tunes that way, or
tasted jams,
or build on that process and say, well, I'm doing this and this is cool, but this other guy's doing this, and this is how I can add to my repertoire of techniques and what have you. Because I've seen some really sick things happen when people collaborate like that.
I like it when breweries collaborate and make other beers.
And I'm no
Those
different.
are also delicious.
I'm no different in that respect, because I've done some pretty sick things and vice versa. Seeing someone's technique that I've never seen before, and or seeing something that's slightly different, and I'm like, whoa. Because I mean, we all know, anybody who's familiar with the digital audio workstation, that even like one slight turn of a digital knob can be a major difference in how something sounds.
I literally have any idea of what you're talking about.
I know,
I know nothing about electronic music.
I know MC Percolator doesn't know.
I'm learning.
Well, we're not talking about just chiptune. We're talking about just general music.
See, that's how ignorant I am.
Yeah, and that's fine. That is totally fine. And one of the things that me and Yoshi Blade talked about at the very beginning of the year, and this was kind of a challenge for me, and I kind of knew that this would be a very difficult challenge, and it still is a very difficult challenge for me, just because, as you know, I'm a very busy guy. That I would try to set aside more time to actually work on my own original video game music, as opposed to remixes or other concepts that are derived from existing tracks. And I think I've done pretty good in starting that, but of course, as I'm sure a lot of my direct friends know, that hasn't been going as well as I had originally anticipated, because I've just, this whole quarter in itself has been crazy with all the events that we've done. And so as a result, I haven't really been able to fulfill the amount of time requirements that I have in order to do what I need to do to fulfill that. And that's okay. That's okay. That's one of those things where, as long as I understand where the problem is, then in the future, I know how to tackle it. And that's something that I've known, so it's not like it's a brand new thing to me. A while back, and actually I talked to some of the guys at OC Remix at MagFest about this. earlier this year and late last year, I was asked by several people at OC Remix, some of the core group, some not, because of the fact I've been doing this for such a long time, both in and out of video game music. I mean, at that point, you think to yourself, wow, you'd be a pretty good fit for somebody to review and or judge some of the tracks that we get in, especially to help get down the queue, because the queue is pretty large. And of course I said sure, but much like with my entire process, there's obviously got to be an expectation.
Yeah.
And if I don't know what that is, then obviously there's nothing I can do. And so it was suggested to me, and it's not really a suggestion because I already knew this, that I should be more active on the forums in terms of reviewing tracks as they come out and working with people in the workshop. But that's actually been a bit of a problem for me, just because at least for me anyway, I do like to have that one-on-one experience with the musician, because I know that especially when you're trying to call somebody out in the open,
Totally.
that again is an emotional and mental strain on the artist. And I'm not going to sit here and say that shouldn't happen, because it's certainly a part of the process. But I mean, it's like being on one of these these popular shows like The Voice or American Idol, where you're gonna have these judges who are just gonna flat out tell you how it is. But I still like to have a one-on-one experience, because I'm able to dictate exactly what the musician needs to do as far as fixing the problems, especially problems that I see that they're not going to see, especially before sending it in for the first time for review. Because me and Yoshi Blade did that on the countless number of tracks, and many of those he hasn't sent in yet. So I'm curious to see how those are going to do. But there are many where there was one in particular we had talked about on the previous podcast where at the very end of it, I'm just like, there's a section that just appears to be missing, and all you really need to do with this thing is just take half of the last section and just copy and paste it at the very end, and this would complete me, if you will. It would complete me.
And then you would end up painting Mr. Vinny Mac and Cheese like one of your French girls.
The funny thing is that Yoshi Blade was so against this, and it could be simply that he may not have realized what I was talking about, which is totally possible, or maybe he didn't feel like that was needed. But after he did it, well, one of the things I said was, you didn't quite do what I asked, but it's a lot better than it was. He basically, instead of taking half the last section, he took the whole last section. So, like I said, it's better. And it certainly would work. And I think pass for my quality control anyway, which I know my quality control is absolutely terrible when you consider that most of my actual commercial work has appeared on, major networks and broadcast entities out there. Most of the stuff that you'll find like on my site and like YouTube and stuff like that is probably some of the worst stuff that you'll ever get from me, including this podcast. I view the podcast as really just something that I'm doing, just to kind of better my own technique of doing this on my own. Because we all know, especially if you've been with the show from the very beginning, you know that at the peak of the show, I had 60 people on staff. And you've heard that before, so if you're acting surprised, which it seems like you are, you've forgotten. But
I'm always surprised.
You're always surprised because you're MC Percolator. You're coming at us with the facts, with the facts.
I don't lie.
Yeah, you don't lie.
I don't lie.
So, and that's the thing, when you have a massive staff like that, there are so many things that you don't have to do, that of course you don't realize when it's all happening behind the scenes, because it all seems seamless,
nice and smooth.
It's all nice and smooth.
Well, you gotta use a lisp. Nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth. 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 I like that word. Smooth.
So, and so,
it's like having chocolate mousse.
So dealing with the podcast is definitely interesting because not only am I the host, but I'm also the person doing a lot of the internal writing. And I say internal writing because I do write parts of the show sometimes, but some of it, I may have an idea, a concept, or a series of things that I may want to cover.
Totally.
And of course, I have a specific mindset of how I want to do it, and it's my mindset and not somebody else's. Which is why the show is the way that it is. One of the things that me and Rossi talked about, which is very important to the whole core of the Game Chumps crew, is the fact that we do not try to do things like everybody else. And it's not because we're trying to be different. It's just that the way that we think and the way that we do things is just naturally different than the way everybody else is going to be doing a lot of this stuff.
I like to keep things a little abstract. At least from my dialogue.
So
spontaneousness is never a bad thing.
For the most part, I would agree with that.
Don't you shoot it down. Don't shoot it down.
I'm not shooting it down. I'm just saying for the most part, spontaneity can be a bad thing, but it just depends, obviously, on the context and scenario.
Spontaneity.
It doesn't matter.
It's a word.
It doesn't matter. We're all different here.
It's a word.
It's a word. It's a word. And in fact, I've been approached already by several folks at, again, major broadcasting entities and companies.
Right.
And they're like, hey, we'd like you to do this. And usually I'm like, no. And it's, as I've said, it's definitely not an issue of laziness or anything like that. It's just that, as we've said, there's no...
You ain't my boss?
No.
You don't tell me what to do?
Oh, sometimes I do. Sometimes I have to.
Don't put me in the hole again.
Okay.
I will not use the lotion.
Not only will you not use the lotion, but you won't get any.
Oh, that's just... Then I'll get all ashy. And...
Like Ashy Larry from The Chappelle Show.
Oh. Hey-o.
So, but again, there's a hashtag I use every once in a while, especially on Facebook. I don't really think I use it anywhere else that much. But Facebook, of course, is a fluent place where I use that, called Respect the Underground.
Right.
And, I live by that every day.
Represent.
And it's not supposed to be a negative thing by any means. It's not supposed to be a bad thing.
Uh-huh.
It's just respect the underground. It's just
for those who don't want to sell out like Green Day did for American Idiot, and any CD after that was just... It's like saying Weezer is still Weezer after their album Pinkerton.
What I think I knew the answer, but what did you think of Green Day's
I haven't heard anything.
21st Century Breakdown? You haven't heard that at all?
Waste of time.
Okay. So you have heard it.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
It's just I don't know. I liked the linear thought that they had for their music. It wasn't necessarily a linear thought, but for what they represented. It was for the underground. It was for... We were successful because we did it, not by signing on with somebody who set us up.
Now,
we did it.
Now, I do want to clarify though that because it's really funny because I definitely like the early works of Green Day, and people are really surprised, especially in the professional world, when they find out that I like the early works of Green Day.
I love that stuff.
But what I wanted to clarify is the fact that being underground does not mean that you're trying to stage a revolt or an uprising of the government or anything like that.
It's a state of independence.
A state of independence is a good way to put it. Now, if that's your interpretation of it, okay, that's your interpretation of it, but that's not my interpretation of what that means.
No?
No. I mean of like staging an uprising or a revolt.
Yeah,
Independence, yes, that's more along the lines of what I view being underground is all about. And again, I don't see, as far as the core of what that means, I don't see any negativity. Now, obviously, there's quite a bit of negativity that comes out of that from some groups, but again, that's not not how I do it.
Rat.
Get in the shopping cart. That's how people get decapitated.
Decapitated.
That was a funny video.
That was great. That was a fun moment.
That was a funny moment, especially when you were pushing the cart down the escalator.
Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you. I'm just stating.
I should have gotten that grocery cart. I should have.
I'm doing what you're supposed to be doing, coming at you with the facts.
Don't steal my line, man.
I'm not trying to. That's just how it's happening.
Oh man, it's been a long week. I'll tell you that.
It has.
Not to sound unmotivated, I'm usually a little more spunky on these recordings for live stuff. I mean, get up here, put an emotional. It's like it's emotionally taxing. I'll tell you that sometimes.
Yeah, I just feel sorry for those that actually catch the live broadcast later on catch the archive copy on like YouTube or Mixcloud. Because other than again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because on YouTube they can rewind and fast forward as they please, but on Mixcloud, I don't know if you were
aware. They
aware.
can hear all the farts.
No,
all the burps,
no.
all
On
the coughs.
Mixcloud, because of copyright, they do not allow you to rewind. You can fast forward, but you cannot rewind. Which means that if you want to rewind, you gotta refresh the page and start over.
These things are long.
Well, again, you can fast forward.
Oh, right.
But you can't rewind.
You have to wait for it to buffer.
Well, Mixcloud isn't too bad with buffering and stuff like that. Which is why, at least for the podcast, I choose that over SoundCloud, just because Mixcloud is designed for this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, Mixcloud could handle, individual tracks like SoundCloud can, but of course that's not. Mixcloud will actually remove tracks that are under a certain duration because they don't want you posting individual tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, that's why I use Mixcloud, because it's designed for podcasts and radio shows and things of that nature, and they handle all the licensing behind that. Not that I really have to worry about licensing, since most of what we're doing here is all free to use.
I was going to say owned by you, but I really don't know if that's a fact or not.
Well, the content is owned by me, but anything that isn't owned by me, is probably coming from, a VGM artist of some kind that has already given me the approval to use their content for this particular use.
Right.
Because they know that the podcast, especially the podcast, is a non-commercial entity, and especially anything we do now is not something that we're planning on monetizing in any way.
It's big words.
Big words.
Big words.
For me, DJ Vince VinnyMac, as told, as the heavy breathing continues from MC Percolata.
It's not from hunger. It's It's just exasperating.
We did have pizza.
Just
a bit ago.
Cheese crust. It was really good.
Stuffed crust.
Cheese stuffed crust.
Jeez.
It's been a long time, man. Just saying. And it wasn't DiGiorno. It was delivered.
Well, it's
technically pickup. It was pickup. It was pickup.
Well, speaking of DiGiorno, every time I tell people, I'm like, oh yeah, I got a pizza. They're like, oh, it's DiGiorno. And I'm like, the last time I had a DiGiorno pizza was maybe like 5 years ago. And it wasn't because I bought it. It was because somebody else bought it.
I just realized how expensive DiGiorno is, too.
DiGiorno is very expensive. You'd be better just to buy a pizza at a pizza place.
Yeah.
Than to buy a DiGiorno pizza.
Agreed. I don't even think DiGiorno does cheese stuffed anyway.
Well, stuffed crust in itself is a trademark of Pizza Hut.
Why do they gotta be like that?
Because they're Pizza Hut, and they're a major chain.
That's gross.
They can do that.
It's so gross.
MC Percolator coming at you with the facts as always. That's what he does here on the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, episode 1306.
It's nasty stuff. I'm just saying. Papa John's all the way. I'm a Papa John's lover. Domino's, maybe.
So, comparison just to Papa John's. If you had to compare it to stuffed crust, which would you choose?
Papa John's.
Okay.
They have the garlic butter dip.
Okay.
It's worth it.
Okay, fair enough.
That's like saying what's better, pasta or like shrimp and grits.
Shrimp and grits.
They're both delicious.
I don't know. I just typically am not able to get Papa John's cheap enough that I'd want to pay for it.
See, that's where they do the out in Raleigh. They have the like Duke and Chapel Hill and NC State basketball teams and football teams, whatever. Whenever they have specials, is because that college did something cool. Like for the Carolina Panthers when they played, when they won, like when they scored like 55 points or something like that, they give you a 55% discount. It was freaking cool. So you pretty much got like a little over half off a pizza that's normally like $12, and you get like for like $6. But you had to order like something else with it, like an appetizer, and you'd buy that. But anyways, it's delicious. It was worth it. It's fun. That's why Papa John's is cool in my book. I'm not selling my soul to the devil at all.
Yeah, and that photo on Instagram totally is not MCP selling his soul to the
No, I
devil.
just like eating cardboard boxes.
For Pizza Hut and Dunkin' Donuts.
I like eating cardboard boxes with the label up.
Sure you do. Sure you do.
Sure you do.
This podcast was not paid for by Pizza Hut
Or Papa John's.
or Papa John's or Dunkin' Donuts.
Nope.
But
Those
I did.
are the pictures too.
But I did buy pizza from Pizza Hut and donuts from Dunkin' Donuts to help
Worth it.
energize us for this
Hashtag worth.
podcast.
Hashtag worth.
Worth or worth it?
Worth. It's a hashtag from League of Legends.
Oh, okay.
So when you do something that's like risky, it's like a Leroy Jenkins from World of Warcraft. It's like one of those moves, kind of. They say hashtag worth because like you died, but you also took two people with you, and like 40 million minions. Just saying.
Just saying. He's just saying, ladies and gentlemen. All right, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. And as always, around this time, and I use always very loosely, as always, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll finish talking about more stuff. We'll be right back.
stop now, it's far too late to save you. And I know we're rushing through the world to our death. And I know we can't stop now, it's far too late to save you. And I know we're rushing through the world to our death.
But I do. Turn it up. Yo, you're looking like you think that I don't know. Thinking that the signs of a lie don't show. Little by little you lie more. So I'ma give you something so you don't try no more. Oh my lord, what you gonna say next? Do anything for a little paycheck. I'ma tell you short, simple and basic. It really doesn't look like you're gonna make it. You make me sick with all your tricks. You just might slip, your feet lose grip. You're not that slick, I'm much too quick. You've broken something that you just can't fix. You know that oil and water don't mix. I'ma tell you, look, I'm only trying to make things run smooth, but now I gotta worry about what you gon' do. You shoulda came to me to tell me what you're going through, but now you're on the wrong team, gotta own you. Don't you ever think about how they all say everything that you do comes back always? You made a big leak and your shit might sink. I would've thought you would've thought, but I guess you don't think. You make me sick with all your tricks. You just might slip, your feet lose grip. You're not that slick, I'm much too quick. You've broken something that you just can't fix. You know that oil and water don't mix. Open the floodgates, get ready for the flow.
Welcome back to the VinnyMac's 9 radio show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet. Yes.
Yes. Again.
Episode 1306. I am the one and only DJ Vince VinnyMac.
And I'm MCP coming at you with the facts.
MCP stands for MC
Percolator.
Percolator. Oh, yeah. And that's right. We are, as always, coming to you live from the VinnyMac Productions live studios here in Chester, Virginia. And you know what? We love you guys so much.
We do, we really do.
That we come to you live simultaneously on such platforms like Hitbox, YouTube Gaming, Twitch TV, Shoutcast, and of
Just
course,
to name a few.
and of course, VinnyMacRadio.com.
Of course.
We really do. We try to make sure that the program is available, at least live anyway, to as much people as we can.
And please, if you do appreciate us like we appreciate you, please reach out to us on our Twitter accounts through VinnyMac Productions website, a.k.a.
GameChumps.tv.
Yes. That links to all of our Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts.
Instagram accounts.
All them shits.
If you're Yoshi Blade, you're only on Twitter and Instagram, primarily Instagram.
Yeah. Just tweet out to us, say how much, what you think of us and what you want to do, and if anything we say helps you.
Yeah.
Just all that nonsense.
All that jazz.
But, anyways, yeah. I feel like the breaks that we have in between our chats really help, because I feel kind of fresh. Us nailing the duets we had, bringing in the show again for the third time tonight. It was pretty slick. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's good shit. Good stuff.
Good shit.
Good shit.
Good stuff.
Good shiznat. And I apologize for all of the random noises you might be experiencing during this podcast, because I've been drinking a glass of water repeatedly. So I need those breaks for the little boys.
He needs those water molecules.
Yeah. I've been drinking some waters, and bumping the mic stand, and shuffling my little chair, and all that nonsense.
H2O. You know what? That reminds me of H209. In the
Water sucks.
In the movie,
It really, really sucks.
No. Remember what you and I were talking about yesterday about one of the first movies I remember seeing Kevin Hart in?
Oh, yeah.
Superhero movie.
Oh, God.
So there's a pharmaceutical company called Amalgamated in the movie, and they go on a field trip to go and see this place, and they're talking about this new pheromone called H209 that causes animals to mate. And
I don't remember that.
well,
It's been a while.
yeah, it's been a while. So Rick Riker, the primary character in the film, he's thrown into some dog shit by his bully, and he goes to try and clean it off, only to bump into a rack that's behind him and a bottle of this H209, which, this looks like a cleaner bottle of water, spills on him. And then all of a sudden you hear the dude giving the tour on the field trip saying, "And over here is our livestock area." And they open the door and all the livestock starts running out and starts humping Rick Riker. And you see this snail trying to make its way over, and he's like, "Hold him down, boys, I'm on my way." And then of course he finally gets over there and he's like, "Take it, bitch."
That's a little R-rated.
It's hilarious.
That's what it is. But I
That's
didn't watch that again.
That's
It's been a long
that's
time.
kind of one of those movies from from that era that I just find funny, as far as some of the parodies and puns that they have in there. And of course, Kevin Hart and was, of course, like I said, that was one of the movies that I definitely remember first seeing him in. At least one that I remember that was comedic in that respect.
I don't know. I think the first movie I ever saw him in was Scary Movie 4, I believe. Kevin Hart.
What? Where was he in Scary Movie 4?
He was one of the dudes with dreads, and they were talking about the Brokeback
Oh,
Mountain scene.
no. I think he was in no, he was in the third movie too. Scary Movie 3.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Scary Movie. What part did he play in that one?
Same guys.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Same guys.
Because I haven't seen the other guy.
Yeah, I
the
haven't-
bigger dude.
I haven't
seen him in
either.
a while.
But yeah,
I know he's in a show. I think it's called Meet the Blacks. Or it's I don't remember the show, but it's an African American sitcom, I believe. I don't know. It's a good show. I liked it. I thought it was funny. It's just that guy who also played in Kangaroo Jack. Great movie. Great childhood movie. But I don't care what you say if it was bad or good. I liked it. But that guy, who I can't remember his name, good actor. If you're listening to this somehow, if you ever do, if you listen to VinnyMac's 9, you're awesome, dude. Good job. Good kudos.
Kudos to you.
Kudos to you, sir.
Did you know that Scary Movie 3 was actually the original script for Scary Movie 3 was very different than what we actually saw in theaters?
Yeah? How so?
It was supposed to be geared more on the style of The Matrix, but of course there were some major legal issues with that. So if you watch the deleted scenes on the DVD, you'll actually see some rare clips of some of the shots that they created, which illustrate how different the script really was and how, again, geared more towards The Matrix it was. And it's quite scary how different it was. Yes.
Well, hot damn.
Yes.
Hot titties.
Hot titties, yes.
Sorry, I've been saying that more than you this episode.
Well, that's because I typically don't say that during a podcast. I usually say it off a podcast, but it's okay. It's okay.
Well, all
there you go, breaking the fourth wall.
This is a Deadpool thing,
using my popular line on the podcast. my popular line.
Man, I'll let you know. I am tired.
I'm sure you are.
I'm having a pretty bad sugar crash after all the donuts we had today.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this has been a pretty crazy quarter. As I said, started out 2014, and when I mean 2014, I mean 2014 in the sense as far as when I came out of the woodwork to actually tell people what I was about as far as working with people with content creation and music creation. Then kind of actually taking 2015 by the horns and actually, showing myself at MagFest and many of these other events, Phoenix Comic-Con, SGC, were a couple of events to name a few, in addition to many others. And then 2015 ended very interestingly, like I told you guys, this podcast and the two prior to, working with Yoshi Blade, and then starting the 2016 year working with Yoshi Blade here at my house, and then going to your place for a little bit, and then celebrating my 30th birthday in San Antonio, Texas at PAX South.
Which I am so embarrassed I wasn't able to make it.
That's okay.
We partied.
Yeah, we
High
partied.
five.
It was a good time. As I said, it was just very important to me that, especially on my 30th birthday weekend, that I was with people who I care about, obviously, and also are, within the same spectrum as me in terms of music and content creation and similar interests and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, after San Antonio, we traveled to PAX South to come back to Virginia, or at least I did anyway, where 2 days later I left for Phoenix to hang out with Flexstyle for his
really busy.
For his 21st birthday, in addition to some stuff I had going on out there. I had some really special projects I needed to take care of while I was down there for about a week and a half. And then literally the next day after I got back from Phoenix was MagFest. And getting home from Phoenix was a nightmare because the aircraft was late and we landed late, which meant that everybody missed their connecting flight. And we had to schedule an interesting flight in order to get me back that evening. I was very late coming back. Didn't get to handle all the stuff I needed to handle that evening. So unfortunately, I had to put that off till early morning the next day. And some of those things I couldn't do until I got back after MagFest because they required that I was there during business hours. And of course, I had already left for National Harbor by that point,
right,
the next morning. And then, of course, yes, we did have MagFest. And, of course, I had a whole bunch of guests that I had brought in for the event, in addition to the fact that there's a lot that I do for MagFest to make sure that it happens the way that it does.
Which I'm really excited to see if Mag Classic. I don't know if it's slightly off topic, but I'm excited to go to Mag Classic again. Mag Classic again, if it comes about this year.
Yeah, I know that the question was whether or not they were going to do it again because the numbers were below what they were expecting, and so they're not sure, at least right now, if they're going to do it again or not. They haven't released the official word yet, so we'll see.
We should get a panel. No,
I don't know. We'll see. We have some stuff going on over the summer that the Game Chumps are going to be doing. We're still working on all that stuff, but I don't know. It's still too early to tell, unfortunately, as far as stuff that we might be doing at Mag Classic or any other event after the summer. Because, of course, Mag Classic would happen in the middle of September if it does happen this year.
Right.
So, yeah, I know that at least for things that I'm definitely doing, at least as of today, is I know Yoshi Blade and I are probably going to meet for another week or so to hang out, do some more shenanigans, work on technical process of some of this music creation.
Maybe go eat at Shenanigans.
Maybe shenanigans.
With the weird stuff on the walls and the good cheese sticks.
And and for those of you guys who actually caught the podcast last time, you'll know that one of the things Yoshi Blade talked about was the fact that he kind of feels like I'm his muse, if you will, when I'm around, because
you're definitely the personality between you guys.
Yeah, well, it's just that when I'm around, and I can certainly agree with his statement towards this, I get him out of the house and get him into
trouble.
Get him into
No, not in trouble.
Get him into good trouble. So get him out of the limelight of working on music in itself, so he can actually, get away from it a bit, start thinking about things both personally and professionally, which is also good for him for the music creation perspective, because that's also, allowing him to be creative outside.
You have any feeling if you're going to go there, if he's going to come here?
No.
Cool.
I know that for the foreseeable future, he's still going to, be in the Cleveland area because he's got, school.
I mean, not moving, but when you guys hang out next.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's obviously going to be in the Cleveland area for a while because he's working on school. And as I told him, that's definitely very important. And I definitely feel that that's more important than anything he's doing right now, whether it be music creation or just the work that he's doing to make money. Just because I know that once he's done that, he'll land on his feet and do very well after that.
I gotta give it to him. He's trying. He's still got some hope in him.
Yeah, I mean,
even though he's in a hopeless state.
Well,
that's not a pun. Ohio sucks.
Maybe
I don't know anybody who ever says, "Man, I miss Ohio."
Well, no, I mean, as I've said before, I think he's definitely got talent. I think he knows what he's doing for the most part in terms of trying to figure things out from the technical perspective of trying to find his sound. But I know that there's a lot of things personally, and there's a lot of stuff mentally, emotionally, and what have you.
Everybody's got stuff.
They do.
Like that.
So, I mean, it's not a bad thing at all, but it's just naturally something that, friends have to work through.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, I was in the weeds pretty bad. Excuse me. My voice just cracked. I was in the weeds pretty bad about a year ago, and I didn't. I would have never found myself in this mental, emotional state that I am, which is a hell of a lot better than I was a year ago. If I didn't have the friends that I do, and I didn't have the family supporting me, so never feel like you're alone. I'll say it again. You're never alone. Truly, there's always someone out there who cares about you and wants to see you succeed.
And that's definitely why, especially with the video game music community, why I think that's very important, to reach out to those who are especially clearly doing very similar things that you may be trying to do. Because Sure, there may be some dysfunction behind it. What family isn't? But
Yeah.
we're all kind of a family, and as I've said before on the previous 2 podcasts, even though I love my immediate family, there is somewhat of a disconnect, just a bit, with some people in the family, just because even though I try to be interested in what they've got going on, they don't necessarily try to be interested in what I have going on, and so as a result, it becomes more of a chore to handle that
Right.
than it is to hang out, chat with, and work with people in the community, who are obviously have the same passion and desires as I do with video games, video game music, broadcasting, and things of that nature.
I'm excited to get into this part of the industry. I'm probably not going to be nearly as deep as you are.
That's
Never.
okay.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part of it in the little way that I am, because this is something that I've personally, for me, I've always loved video games. I've always loved cartoons and TV shows and music, and I've always been a consumer. And hopefully, this is me doing my part in producing.
Sure. And what better to have somebody who consumes video games and TV shows and what have you to hang out with people like me, Rousey, Tenwag, Yoshi Blade,
Do you just say Rousey?
Rossi. If
It's like Ronda Rousey.
if I did, we all know that even though I've been a professional broadcaster for just about 2 decades now, that I can't talk. One of the things I think I touched up on this on one of the 2 previous broadcasts, but did you know that for 6 years when I was in elementary school, I actually had to go to speech therapy?
Really?
Yeah.
I would never guess.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
Because-
My roommate, he has he said he had to go to speech therapy for a little while. I could tell a little bit, but like when he told me he had speech therapy when I was a child, I was like, shit, I'm gonna stop making fun of you then.
I mean, people get really surprised when I tell them that. In addition to when they hear that I always consider myself to be an introvert.
Yeah.
I just try really hard to,
I feel like you do a damn good job at it, being extroverted.
Well, I'm not trying to be extroverted. I'm just
Outgoing
trying. I'm just
would be the best word.
I'm trying to be outgoing. To again share with people the experiences that I have, so that they can better themselves. Because again, introverts, I think have it a little tougher because, especially in social situations, it's harder to present yourself.
Yeah, the way that my brother told me about it, he said that he called me an introverted extrovert. So I think that fits you too.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, in front of family, the people that see me on a daily basis, I'm not always outgoing. I have my quiet moments, especially when I just want to sit alone in my room. Because my job for 8 to 9 hours 7 to 9 hours out of the day during the week is constantly being the face of the company that I work for, and being representative, kind of being someone who represents the company on a daily basis, and then having to go home, and then people expect you to be extroverted too, and then you're just like, I just want to sit in my room alone and eat an entire box of Velveeta mac and cheese. Just leave me alone, let me drink my beer, and let me go home.
Sure.
Let me sleep.
Sure.
Just shut up. Just stop talking.
And as we've talked on countless episodes of the podcast in season 13, just about everybody who especially those who don't know me, they're just like, get out of town. I would never take you for an introvert. But again, like I've said, I've got to try 100 times harder than an extrovert would, because again, it's just hard. And of course, I want to make sure that again, I present myself in such a way that allows others to learn and grow from said knowledge and experience. Because that's what we're all about here at the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, despite what you may think or
And
have
sometimes
heard.
staying on topic.
Well, that's hard. That's hard for anybody. But I blame my co-hosts, my cohort co-hosts, as I'll call them, for helping me stay off topic.
Because doing the job.
Because episode 1304, what you probably don't know about that at least the final version of what was 1304 at Tim Wilkes Place in Dallas, Texas.
I was not
you
there.
You were not there, but I know I've talked about it. But I had an insane amount of notes prepared for that show.
I even heard some of the bloopers from that, and you guys went woo, right off topic completely.
Actually, no. It's not that we went off topic. It's just that because that whole thing was the technicals from that were so damaged because of the technical problems that we had.
Yeah.
Thanks to our provider. Thank you. Everything you heard, those aren't really bloopers. That was really just clips from the show that I was able to salvage. So it may have seemed off topic, but I think that we did a pretty good job. If you were to, I've actually heard the full thing from start to finish. I think it was pretty good. Now, of course, the final episode that was 1304 is effectively the same thing. It was just done during a different time.
Indeed.
So I don't think the content really changed that much. Because, I mean, again, it was really just me and Yoshi Blade talking about everything that we had done and everything that we were working on and planning. So coming up for Q2, there really isn't a whole lot going on in Q2, quarter two. So
I was like, wait, dude, fill me in.
you're
Like,
like,
we don't
what?
have a script for tonight. Just what?
Well, if we had a script, we'd be screwed because this would technically be Q3
Well,
because this is the third part in the show.
Right.
So anyway, Q2 is not as exciting as Q1, where I was all over the place. So I got back from MacFest.
We haven't talked about that yet, really.
No, we haven't, which is why we're here. So I got back the Monday after because a good portion of the Overclock remixers, members, artists, there weren't a whole lot of staff or anything like that. It was more kind of a get together that Steve-O does every year, which is cool. And so, you know, as most of you guys know, I had paid for and arranged for several people in video game music, not just Overclock Remix, to make it down to MagFest. And Yoshi Blade and Beat Drop and his fiance were certainly among those that I arranged to bring down to MagFest. And of course, they were at Steve-O's as well. So I got back late in the afternoon that Monday because I had to make sure that Beat Drop, his fiance, and Yoshi Blade got to the airport on time, and that everything was cool there. And then, of course, I had to wrap up some things in National Harbor, which took a couple of days because I actually had to go back up to National Harbor for a little bit after I got back to my house to unload.
Right.
And I think I came home. It was either Wednesday or Thursday, and I know.
You did come home a few days after.
I know it doesn't look it, obviously, because I've done a lot of work in here, but this place was like packed to the gills with equipment and stuff. That's obviously since left here.
I like that phrase, packed to the gills.
It was. I mean, like you couldn't move in here. I mean, you couldn't move anywhere in this house because there was so much stuff in here.
That's ridiculous.
Not really. That's my life. You have to remember, outside of my daily technical operations at my day job, you know, I do so much in live entertainment that it just keeps me busy,
right,
day in and day out. And of course, that's what I love to do. So that works for me. So
they don't say call it work when you love it.
Well, and that's exactly right. Sure, it's work, but I love doing it. So
it's hard work.
Yeah,
but
it's rewarding work because especially with music creation, it's really cool to see where people go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I remain, even after all these years, very humbled to do it, even though I'm the one doing most of the giving.
I mean, it helps people move along.
Sure. I mean, it does. But again, it's very humbling for me to be able to see that happen and. Continue to do it, continue to be able to do it.
Dude, you gotta take a picture of this right now.
Oh my gosh, this
Gotta take a picture of my
looks
hair
this looks pretty flipping
Because
hideous.
usually I have my hair up on a top knot, but nobody really gets to see how long my hair really is.
Yeah, this looks.
And it's a little little redonkulous.
This. Oh man, you moved.
So when we do this, is keep the pit stains open.
That's flipping ridiculous. my
Took the hats off because it's getting a little hot in here.
yeah. Even though I turned down the AC a bit, but you know, you still can only stay cool enough.
You know, just as you can see from the pit stains, it's getting a little hot in here.
It's getting hot in here.
All right, dude. I think you took enough pictures.
I don't know. I don't know. This phone got really slow.
Look like alfalfa.
Yeah. This is a fun.
I gotta see that. Let me see that.
Hold on. Like my phone. I don't know. It just got really slow.
Too much hair.
Too much. Too hot to handle.
Too much pit stain. That's what it is.
Yeah, so MagFest is obviously over, and I'm sure many are feeling the post MagFest depression.
And that will be an annual thing for us.
and-
At least me, because I want to go back every year.
Well, you know,
That
for
shit was
me,
awesome.
it wasn't that bad. I know that, especially after all my guests left, there was a short period where I was like, you know, I kind of felt the MagFest depression, if you will, the post Mag depression. But I was like, well, why feel depressed when I could kind of do what I've been doing over the last year? And that looks ridiculous. To where, you know, I can continue to ride it out all year. Because, I mean, that's the cool thing about a platform like Facebook,
Right.
unlike Instagram. Because, you know, you've got all your friends right there and you chat with them directly. One of the things I like about Facebook over like Instagram is the fact that you can send practically anything. You can send links, you can send pictures,
Right.
files, various attachments. Because, and I'm not trying to like single anybody out, but the problem I have with Instagram is it's not really a chat platform.
Mhm.
Because like if you post a link, you can't really click the link and it'll go to where it's supposed to go. You got to copy it, and then you got to put it in a browser, and
Mhm.
if it's like a video, it doesn't really work that well.
Right.
And same thing with photos. You know, you put a photo in there, it crops it like Instagram does, and you can't really, you know, and you can't do anything with audio files, so it's just kind of a pain. And Twitter really isn't any better. I mean, I really, even though there's no longer a character limit on direct messages, I just don't like to use Twitter as a chat platform either. It's just,
Seems like it's not made for that.
I mean, you can say
It used
whatever.
to be just for advertising and like trying to boost different promotions.
Sure, and I mean, you can
From
call
a
it
business standpoint, Twitter was great.
I mean, you can call it a chat platform all you want. Sure, it has direct messages, but you know, again, Facebook Messenger has it all.
Yeah.
For me, it's the end all for chat platforms. At least as far as like how I interact with the community, because you do have GroupMe, and I know that you asked me about that a little while ago.
Yeah.
And GroupMe is good for what it is, and especially how Overclock Remix uses it at MagFest. But you know, as far as how I'm interacting with those in the community for the work that I do with them, Facebook is where it's at. So that's
At least for privatized messaging, I think it's
Sure.
works well.
Absolutely. So, you know, that's, you know, and I understand people's,
Paranoia.
fear, paranoia, not wanting to sign up for Facebook, even if it's just for Messenger, because I get it. But at the same time, I think, especially if you're just limiting yourself to a platform like Instagram, you're really limiting your capabilities, because you're not really utilizing your tools effectively to, you know, make it happen, if you will.
You don't have to put any private information on there.
You
It
mean-
can just be your first name, and then I don't know. That's a whole nother can of worms. I don't know if I
it
go
doesn't
into.
matter. I mean, that's my spiel about that, because we have Chumps Chat that we have on Facebook, and you know, we utilize that to the fullest. And of course, one of the guys in the group doesn't have Facebook, so that makes it really difficult to communicate with him. So I'm kind of the intermediary between Facebook and Instagram to make sure that he gets the facts from MCP. And anything else that he might be missing since he's not on Facebook. So Q2, now that we've finally wrapped up Bad Fest, Q2, so me and Yoshi Blade are hopefully going to spend a week doing something. That is the hope. All that's going to be dependent upon travel plans and all that fun stuff. So, that may work out, it may not. Then in May, we have Phoenix Comic-Con that, as I've said in previous podcasts, I wasn't planning on going to, but it looks like I'm going to be conned into going there anyway.
Conned into going to a con.
Oh, yeah.
Funds. All of them.
I'm not planning on going to SGC.
Now, why is that?
Well, of course, that's in Austin, Texas this year. And you and I have already talked about that.
Yeah, but not on Mike, have we? Have we talked about that?
Well, I'm not gonna go into great detail on that.
Well, fine then.
Well, I mean, I've already gone into great detail with you.
I'm just asking questions.
Why are you asking questions that you should already know the answers to?
It's getting late.
Okay. Yeah, it is kind of late. Well, yeah, I'm not planning on doing SGC. So at least for the time being, even though I guess Q2, at least from my perspective, isn't going to be that busy. It's really just me, Yoshi Blade, doing our stuff. Phoenix Comic-Con. And then after that, it looks like Q3 and 4, aside from the show and maybe a couple of other things that we have in the works but aren't ready to announce yet. We're going to be doing some stuff during the last half of the year. But aside from that stuff, it's, at least, again, for the time being, it's going to be fairly quiet last half of the year, which hopefully will mean that I'll be able to get some personal work done.
While I'm over here in this corner fixing my top knot. Putting it in different positions on my head.
Your man bun is that...
It's a top knot, you uncultured shit.
No, I'm not calling it a man bun. That young lady was plastered out of her mind.
She was drunk.
A couple weeks ago.
We were working in downtown Raleigh doing some early festival work. Actually, early, as in like it was the weekend before St. Patty's Day. And
which we'll never do again.
Gosh, I will never work for that guy again. But,
anyway.
Yeah, we were working down the street carrying bar stools off of the sidewalk and back into the bar, and this girl, she's probably in her early 20s, tries to stop me and says, "Hey, I'm proud of you and your man bun." And I wanted to throw a bar stool at her face so bad. I'm tired.
Now
it's just I don't know.
Well, apparently she doesn't know what a mohawk is either, because Norwegian Metal was there, and I forget what the heck she called it, but I caught the tail end of that conversation, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What the heck is that?"
And he tried to come up with some smart response, but it ended up being in so many different accents that you couldn't really understand it. So we just kind of pushed him back into the bar, like, "All right, let's get this work done. we need to disengage."
Yeah, there really wasn't much to be said, because I mean,
she was lit.
She was lit with alcohol, and
she was abusing alcohol.
Yeah, and we were there for a job, and we were there to do the job, and that was it. So, although I was a little pissed because I remember when we were working, I said to myself, "You know what? I'm gonna take that Coke there, that 4-pack of Coke home, and we come back later for it, because it was all behind the equipment that we had kind of hanging out in the corner."
Yeah, we got like 6 liters of free Coca-Cola from the event, and we were away from it for like an hour and a half or something like that. We come back to it, and people had picked it up and thrown it on the concrete, almost all of them.
Yeah, so I think only 3 of them were actually salvageable, and the other, I think,
like half empty, because they were thrown on the ground and exploded and foamed up too bad. It was bad. It was embarrassing, and it kind of aggravating, because people have zero respect for other people's property. And
yes, they do. If it's not theirs, they don't care about it.
They don't care.
Which is disappointing, I gotta tell you.
They don't care.
That's disappointing.
Disappointing.
You heard it here first on the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast.
From MCP and VinnyMac and Cheese.
VinnyMac and Cheese. So here's a question I have. So everybody knows that I'm DJ Vince VinnyMac.
And Cheese.
No. And that, of course, my radio surname has always just been Vinny Mac.
Yep.
But somebody came up to me a couple days ago and actually said that they thought that my name should be Vinny the Mac.
The Mac Daddy?
No, just Vinny the Mac.
No, I don't. No.
And of course, they explained it to me and where they were going with that, because there are other people who go by that alias, but I hear that and I'm like,
Vinny Mac?
Yeah, and I go, yeah, and there's tons of other people with other aliases of famous people out there.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem. But the thing is that I've always been Vinny Mac. I've always been the Vinny Mac. I own practically almost every alias of Vinny Mac everywhere. And as far as I'm concerned, I own all the ones as far as the ones that count. So there you go.
Yeah. Take that.
What MCP said. So I thought about it for a second. I'm just like, that sounds like an interesting thing that you got thinking there in the brain. But, again, I've been doing this a long time and I'm satisfied with what I've got. So, but Vinny the Mac doesn't really speak to me. Because I'm not the Mac. I'm not a Macintosh computer.
Or Mac Daddy.
Well, I am, just not in that respect. Mac Daddy of video games and video game music.
It's funny how you have a nickname for your nickname.
Yeah.
Vinny Mac and Cheese.
That's not my nickname.
Yes, it is now. That's a thing. Like, MC Percolator was supposed to be mine, but you called me MCP. That's a thing. That's a nickname for a nickname, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an abbreviation of MC Percolator.
MC Mac and Cheese. Don't hate it.
I can't hate something I don't understand.
How do you not understand? It's Vinny Mac and Cheese. Come on.
But the Mac isn't supposed to be separate. It's all one word.
Vinny Mac and Cheese. Come on. It's like Easy Mac, but like Vinny Mac.
But everyone knows I am not easy. I can be. I can.
Wow.
I can be like Rossi can be.
Hey-o.
I can be an enigma. And if you don't know what enigma is, and that's too long for you,
You could just make out with random porn stars.
Basically
You're not
means
easy, so you don't.
basically means I can be a puzzle. And typically, if I'm being a puzzle, it's because you need to solve that puzzle.
You're hurting my brain. You're hurting my brain.
As in, if I'm being cryptic, I'm being cryptic for a reason. I don't typically be cryptic because I want to. I'm usually that way because there's a reason behind it. And if for some reason I am being cryptic and it's just like going way over your head, usually I help you out. Usually I give you some clues.
Well, that just hurts my ego.
It hasn't hurt it so far, so what's the problem?
You don't know that.
Yes, I do. I talk to you. And if I'm talking to you and it's hurting your ego, then you're not telling me what you need to tell me.
That's a conversation for another day.
Remember,
I don't want to tell everybody how little my brain is.
You don't need to tell them anything. You just have to work with the friends that you got.
At what pace my brain works at compared to some other people's. I'm telling you, I need to go back to those times tables, the 2-minute times tables from the second grade, and go back and take that 2-minute test. I'm just saying.
There you go.
Probably help you.
MC Percolator coming at you with the facts.
Work on your times tables and your long division, not your algebra. Nobody uses algebra.
I use algebra.
Don't. Our math teachers were wrong, and you shouldn't validize them. But did I say that right?
Validate.
Validatize. That word. Validatize.
MCP, you are truly
a hoot.
A funny guy. Saturday night stand-up, ladies and gentlemen, in Raleigh, North Carolina.
At the Bull and Bear. Let's go.
There you go. There you go. So, yes, we all know that I am the one and only DJ Vince Vinny Mac, and to my left is the stunning
MCP.
a.k.a. MC Percolator.
MC Percolator.
And he is coming at you with
the facts. Man, we've been killing it with those duets.
We have.
I don't even know what they're duets. Just, what are they? Unisons. Unisonary. Yeah, I'm making up words tonight. I am making them all. Making them all up.
It's all good, my friend.
read a
It's all,
dictionary.
it's all good.
People understand.
But I think we had a little bit of practice because, as we said, we were listening to The Delicious Dish, and then we had so much fun.
read the entire script.
We had so much fun watching that again because that's one of my faves from SNL. That we had to reenact one of them, and yeah, it was just hilarious. But
doing the voice that Betty White played was pretty fun. And then having to take over Terry at the same time.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Tara, was it Tara? Tara or Terry?
That was Terry.
Terry?
Yeah.
All right, I think it's Terry. But anyways, it's good stuff.
So yeah, it's been a fun time here on the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet. Episode 1306, coming to you live from the VinnyMac Productions live studios in glorious Chester, Virginia. There's not really that much cool here.
The only thing makes it glorious is us.
Other than me and MCP. So we definitely thank you for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. This has definitely been a very, very busy last 3 months. I know I'm exhausted and still have a lot to do. And as always, make sure to check the show notes at VinnyMacRadio.com. Post the show. Hopefully we'll have that for you. You can check out all the cool ways that you can follow all the Game Chumps crew here. Myself, DJ Vince VinnyMac. You can follow MCP. You can follow Rossi, Temwug, and of course Yoshi Blade at the various handles that they have at VinnyMacRadio.com. As always, you can check YouTube and Mixcloud. A couple of days post the show for an archive copy of this episode. Hopefully it'll be up in time. We'll see. I cannot make guarantees because my schedule is so busy. It took forever.
To be honest, all of ours are.
Yeah,
it
took forever to get 1305 up, but that was a great episode because the live listenership was pretty awesome for that, especially the rebroadcast a month later.
All right.
So I definitely want to thank everybody here at VinnyMac Productions and VinnyMac Interactive Entertainment, and of course the fine folks at the VinnyMac Productions Monitoring and Control Center, as always, for making sure that the technicals behind the VinnyMacRadio.com stream stays up and stays cool, because that's a pretty beast that we have going on there.
And cool is in giving us the ability to say cool beans when we want.
Okay. I don't necessarily know that they give us that ability, but cool.
I'm just saying, like, it's up and we're recording, and I said cool beans. That's all I meant.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do. It's
Yeah.
the entire purpose of this podcast.
So I'm trying to remember if there's anything I forgot, because, I will make sure that if I end this, that I don't go, oh crap, I should have said something else. Okay. So we did all that usual stuff. We told everybody how to find us.
We talked about MagFest.
We talked about MagFest, all the cool stuff.
We didn't talk about beer, but beer can be the next one. Because I want to talk about beer sometimes. Beer's tasty. Craft beer. I mean, so it's whatever. It's another episode.
Make sure to check out Overclock Remix Radio live at ocremixradio.com for OC Remix tracks being played 24 hours a day, every day of the year. You can also check out the on-demand library in addition to the static library at ocremixradio.com. Powered by Subsonic and OwnCloud. Very cool stuff there. And as always, from everybody here at the Game Chumps crew, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank MC Percolator for being here tonight. Definitely want to thank Rossi, Tenwug, and Yoshi Blade, who, of course, are not here on this coast.
They're all on their own personal adventures.
Yeah, they're on their own personal adventures, and of course, I'm keeping an eye on every single one of them.
Don't be creepy, dude.
I'm just kidding. So, thanks everybody, and as always, I'm DJ Vince VinnyMac.
And we're gonna high five you.
Gonna high five.
And we'll see you
MC Percolator
on the next episode.
No, you're forgetting.
What?
Remember, I'm the one and only DJ Vince VinnyMac. Stay true to yourself, keep it real, and we'll catch you next time. Remember, I do that after every single show that I've ever done.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't catch that from the episode you were on.
I mean, I caught it. It's just I wanted to say something last, but you got it.
Do you literally want to say something last?
No, I'm good. You ruined it. No, no, I'm joking. I'm just picking on you.
You're gonna have to make me do it again.
Do it again.
Okay. you want to see how professional I am at doing this?
Absolutely. For everyone to hear.
Okay, for everyone to hear. Anyway, I'm the one and only DJ Vince VinnyMac's. Stay true to yourself. Keep it real. And as MC Percolator just put it, we'll catch you next time. We're out.